So we've started illegal foreign wars, unconstitutional, because of 9/11. Lost all of our freedom. In basically, Bush said, "Oh, it's like him saying, well, I have to abandon free market principles to save the free market." That's basically what he said with the Patriot Act. Like, in order to save our freedom, we have to abandon the freedom that we have. It's such hypocrisy, and we've bought it. We've bought it. I mean, World Trade Center 7. Most people don't even know what that is. It just collapsed. It wasn't hit by a plane. It just collapsed. So that alone needs to. There's questions that haven't been answered. Okay, and back to the congressmen that have actually spoken out against this recently. Congressman Massey. I watched the video. I mean, he is very sincere, or else he wouldn't have come out and said. He's not coming out to get political points. I mean, he's coming out because he cares about this country and saying, "Hey, look, we need to reinvestigate 9/11." Okay, and the involvement of the Saudi Arabians. Why? And Bush said, "Oh, we don't want to declassify these documents because it'll violate our national security." Look, we need to stop buying that argument. Oh, we're going to have this guy assassinated, but we're not going to release the documents because it's a violation of our national security. Oh, we're going to, Obama basically just doing whatever he wants. Well, it's a matter of national security. I mean, it's dictatorship now, okay? So if you're not willing to admit that, hey, there's questions that haven't been answered about 9/11, and we already know the mainstream media completely lied to us, on the day that it happened. I mean, we had Building 7 being reported that it fell with someone reporting that it fell, and the building's right behind him, and it's standing.
BBC.
Okay? That is on record. Okay? So
they're reading off a script, Stuart.
Yeah, exactly. They're reading off a script. They got the press release too early, apparently. And so we really need to ask questions. We need another investigation. And if we want to save this country, we got to figure out why we want to save it, because we've lost all our freedom. So maybe we should go back and look, well, why did we lose all our freedom? And then why do we want to save the country if we have no freedom? That's why this whole border situation is ironic, is because these people, these kids, and not just kids, immigrants of all ages are coming over the border. They're leaving tyranny to come to another tyranny. And as Nancy Pelosi said, well, we can't send them back to a burning building. Well, sending them here and letting them in here is basically locking them in a building and then preparing to light it on fire, okay? Because that's what this country is right now. So anyway, I'm very happy that these congressmen have come out and said, release these 28 pages, because we need to see them. The public needs to see them, okay? The government works for us, okay? Give us let us see the documents. It's ridiculous. Transparent government, that's exactly what we need, okay?
Down on the border, Stuart, the UN is taking control of the border. 2 anonymous Border Patrol agents reportedly told radio host Dave Hodges that under the pretense of labeling legal aliens refugees, the United Nations is calling the shots on America's border operations, and the UN is deciding which immigrants to ship to various parts of the United States. And to go along with that, reported on Laura Ingram's show, was that over 100,000 of these illegal alien children are actually MS-13 gang members coming into Texas. And that was reported yesterday or a few days back. So that's these poor children that Nancy Pelosi refers to as baby Jesus. She literally said that, folks. This is a quote from her. These children, how's it go? It goes... well, she compared them to baby Jesus.
She said baby Jesus was
a refugee from violence. So I guess if you're against illegal aliens immigrating to this country who could be Al-Qaeda, MS-13 gang members, then you're against baby Jesus. That's what she's implying here. That's why she's lost her mind and needs to be removed from office due to insanity.
That's the psychological warfare that we're dealing with. Hey, Christians, Nancy Pelosi is going to say, if you don't take these illegal immigrant gang members, you're now anti-Christian. You hate Jesus, I guess, because she's comparing these kids to Jesus. But it's just a horrible situation, and she's saying that, oh well, people that have embraced it and not politicized it, those are the politicians that that really care about this humanitarian crisis. Well, embracing it, in my opinion, is politicizing it, and you're politicizing the fact that we need to open the borders, or else we're racist. That's what they're trying to politicize, okay? And look, the UN is now. Since when does the UN have authority in a sovereign nation? Well, I guess they're starting to operate as the world government. So all those people that thought it was real funny, I used to hear, oh, we run the UN, man. The UN would be nothing without us. No, they've used us, our wealth and our freedom, to become the world government. And now, guess what? We're going to answer to the UN. Okay? So as we this continues with the whole collapse of the border, we're going to see more and more UN officials. We're going to probably, in the near future, see United Nations troops on our soil. And guess what? We're going to accept it because that's just going to be the way it is, right? We're not a sovereign nation anymore. I mean, if you're not willing to, get out on the streets and protest and use your First Amendment, you're going to lose it anyway. So, I mean, yeah, if you like the UN being our government now, then I guess just allow them to decide what they're going to do with all these illegal immigrants coming across the border, because that's what's happening.
It's disgusting, Stuart. I never voted for anybody at the UN.
Exactly.
I don't like anybody at the UN.
Unelected.
Yeah, unelected intellectual elite, just like David Rockefeller said. That these people are self-appointed dictators, technocrats above the law with diplomatic immunity. And we see down on the border, reported by real Border Patrol agents that want to save America and restore the republic, that they're using asymmetrical warfare against us. This is treason by our own government. Understand that. Border agents operating on federal land must comply with a slew of laws, including National Environmental Policy Act, the Wilderness Act, and the Endangered Species Act. That's your Agenda 21 one world government right there. And so they also have to obtain permission or permits from federal land management agencies before undertaking operations such as maintaining roads and installing surveillance equipment. So that creates these corridors of drug smuggling for the cartels who are working with the federal government. It's crime right in your face. That's all you got to do is look to see this is what's going on. When MS-13 sending their gangs over here. So when they can't get the people off the land through their Agenda 21 lies and the Endangered Species Act, through their soft power, their enforcers are here now, the MS-13 gang members, and they're going to use them to force people off the rural lands into the mega cities, just like the Agenda 21 says. Please read it, folks, because they're implementing it right now.
Yeah, and maybe if drugs were legal here in this country, we wouldn't have the black market crime that we have with these gang members running the drugs. I mean, look, they try to convince us, oh, well, yeah, drugs are bad, let's make it illegal. But then you're not closing the borders, and you're allowing the government to help smuggle drugs in through all these gang members and these cartels, working with the cartels. So it's a bunch of hypocrisy, and all it is, it's asymmetrical warfare, it's psychological warfare. We are under attack, folks, okay? And I don't know what it's going to take for people to literally wake up and start protesting what's going on. I mean, really, what is it going to take? Will it take UN troops in your streets saying, hey, there's a curfew, and, freedom of speech has been banned for the next, a couple weeks? I mean, is that what it's going to take for people to really be like, hey, we're not going in the right direction? I kind of like what we used to be, that thing, the Bill of Rights, Constitution. I remember I kind of like that a little bit better. Is that what it's going to take? Or can you not see what's happening? So it's getting more ridiculous by the day. I mean, Joe Biggs of InfoWars just walked across the border into Mexico and then walked back on camera, said, hey, this is how they're getting through, and there's nothing being done about it. Okay, the Border Patrol is not even allowed to go to that area because of the animal preserve. So we really need to wake up, folks, and I mean, just get ready. Just get ready for what's going to happen. I mean, be ready. At least be ready to take action when the collapse happens, or if the collapse doesn't happen. I mean, you need to prepare your family in some way. Start reading about what's happening in these elites, the books that they've written, and try to guard yourself with knowledge at least. I mean, because they're going to ban guns in this country. They're going to attempt to ban guns. I don't know how they're really going to go and confiscate all the guns. And we have hundreds of millions of guns. I mean, 100 million guns have been sold in the last 6 years. So I don't know how they're going to do it. So that means that they're probably going to use an occupying army like the UN.
Like MS-13.
And gang members, their own their own little terrorist army, just like they use Al Qaeda around the world. They fund both sides, people.
They're bringing Al Qaeda here too, Stuart. Governor Jerry Brown won't deploy National Guard troops to the Mexico border like Texas is doing in response to the influx of illegal immigrants. Yeah, Jerry Brown, he loves these dreamers. He wants more of them here because the dreamers are better than American citizens, better than Californians in their eyes because they get more money from the federal government in grants to the schools. It's all a giant money laundering